Greetings, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another Alkebulan Awakening series in collaboration with my co-host, Unduku. You know who I am. My name is Oladedos. I'm the founder of the Emerging Alkebulan. And on this platform, what we do is to decolonize our minds, awaken our consciousness, and get out of the cognitive dissonance. I have to emphasize that, because that's where we're at as African people. Greetings. Unduku.
Habari gani, karibuni, asanteni kwa kuwa nasi. That is hello, welcome, and thank you for being with us in Kiswahili. We now are calling the language, naming it ourselves through self-determination, Ubuntu. Again, like my brother said, this is the work we are doing, countering the false narrative that Western media has propagated against us and telling the African story from an African perspective. Because we are human beings who can speak for ourselves and who can tell our own story. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll let our guest, Amose, introduce herself. Amose, can you please introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, my name is Becky. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hello, wherever you are watching from. My name is Becky. I'm originally from Cameroon. I live in Sweden.
Yeah,
I live in Sweden. And I'm a social worker and I work with the Ubuntu Pan-Afrikan Diaspora Family Circle, where we talk about our struggles and the challenges we go through in these white spaces. Because for so long, the narrative has always been painted as if we are the problem. So, yeah.
Thank you, Amose. Okay, the topic today, as our sister, she's based in Sweden. So she's going to be giving us a Swedish perspective of what she sees. So the topics are the challenges in interracial marriages, and then the unlawful removal of African children from their homes. So Amose, if you wanna start, please.
Yeah, I will start by talking about the challenges most of our women, especially young girls, face when they taking this path of interracial marriage. I'm not really like we can say they should not get married, but they should also understand what they're getting into, because when you get married to a white man and a white woman or a white woman and you move to this part of the world, you're already on a disadvantageous position because the power imbalance, the structure was not built for you. They don't see you as a human being, and you're not going to get justice if anything happens to you. And most of the time, it's not about love. It's about what they want to gain. Because as soon as they move in here, you're still seeing the other side of this individual that you were not seeing when you were in Africa. So it's kind of trapping somebody and taking the person to a place where they will be vulnerable. As a social worker, I've worked with women who have been placed in women's shelter, going through intimate partner violence. And most of the time, they will tell me that this is not how this man was behaving when he came to Africa to get married to me. And when you look at the situation critically, this man might have his own fetish about black bodies, or he has a behavior towards women that he cannot put up with their white women because then he might go to jail. But you, as a black woman, justice will never be served. Or sometimes they introduce these women to all types of things. They either they don't want to be lonely, or they have a secondary motive of getting married to them. And these our women, they were kind of naive, just thinking that, okay, I met somebody, I'm falling in love, the next thing will be having children. Maybe, and this most often these men were not planning to have children. They have some behaviors that we're trying to put under control. As soon as you're here, they start like showing it. So it's really difficult. It's really, really difficult because the social worker is not working for you. The judge is not working for you. The police, most of the time when they call, they don't even if you try to press charges, they will not really like care. They are more interested in the protecting their own people, and then paint our women or our men like the bad guys. So these are things that most women were afraid to talk about, because already moving to this part of the world, your people see you as success. They see it like you've just like it's a gateway to poverty. So you are ashamed to tell people that this is not what I was expecting. This is not what I actually planned for, or this is what the reality is different. So most often our women go through silence, and a lot of this silence has turned to so many of our women breaking down, ended up in psychiatry home. And some of them are addicts today, alcoholics, taking all type of substance. We are seeing them really like mentally deranged too. They end up like in a kind of situation that sometimes it really bleeds my heart, and there's no system put in place for them.
I was gonna say, based obviously as a social worker, you're seeing what you're seeing. How does the system, as a social worker, how is it able to help them? Because you're basically saying the system is working against them. How does that impact the kind of work you do?
It impacts me not only as a social worker but also as a woman from the continent, because so so many times I see these women crawl back to the hands of the abusers. I see these men go caught-free. I see these white women go caught-free. These white men go caught-free. Like some cases that we have, the man got violent, have the woman, when he is violent, he started breaking the window, the doors, the TV, throwing things, and the police were called. And then this woman is then placed in a women's shelter. And in this women's shelter, she was under heavy surveillance. They keep like, what are you doing? Why are you sad? Why are you not happy? You're not paying more attention to the child. They don't want to look at it that this is somebody that thought I was going to paradise. I have escaped poverty from my continent, quote unquote, as they thought. Then now certainly things are not going the way they expected. And you're putting her in a shelter. You're still trying to make it look like she should be strong. She should put up with that abuse. She should not feel sad. She should not emotionally break down. 2 months ago, we have a sister who is pregnant with twins. She just came. She came from one, I think, Burundi or Uganda, and then she got pregnant a month after. And the man said totally it was not about children. I was not prepared for a child, and this is there are now two children. So she was still placed in this women's shelter, and in the women's shelter, nothing is happening there. She's back again with this man. So you see, it's really difficult. It's really a difficult case. Sometimes when these women are placed in the shelter, the social workers are blaming their attachment style, their parenting style, not looking at the trauma where they're coming from. Then they remove the children and give it to white families or to white homes. Then these women now are left them nothing, and they end up breaking down. Most of the time when these women try to complain about things like the men are sodomizing the children, the social workers don't take it serious because they don't want to make it look like their people are the bad guys. We have cases of our brothers who who were in relationship with white women, and the law in Sweden states that if you divorce with somebody in Stockholm and you have to move to another city, you hand your parental rights to the partner that has decided to remain in that city of divorce. But these women sometimes just go with the children, don't even care, and the courts cannot make them bring back those children. Sometimes they even limit these men from seeing the children, especially sometimes when the relationship ended in a kind of way like they want you once in a while to jump in there and do the needful, and you don't want to come there and do the needful. Maybe you've moved on, you have your partner now, and you need to sit up straight. The woman might decide to use the children as a way, or come up with allegation about you that you were abusing the children, and then they just cut you off from the lives of the children. So there's kind of power imbalance. The judicial system is kind of biased. It's not only in Sweden. We see other women who are in the Pan-Afrikan Ubuntu Diaspora group from Finland to the same thing, from Belgium, the same thing, from Germany. That is what they did to me. They just took they gave all the custody to my partner who is like 65, 75 years old, and they even restrict me visitation. Because it's like what my people want is what my people get.
Interesting. Unuku, you got any questions before? Yeah. You're muted.
Sorry. So I know the video I had seen originally of you talking about this, you had mentioned Kenyan women. So are these women mostly Kenyan?
Yeah, they're mostly Kenyan, and
Okay.
they some from Burundi,
Mm-hmm.
Uganda. They're Nigerians, but to some extent, Nigerians are more resilient to fight back. That's what I noticed. But with the
Mm-hmm.
Kenyan women, they leave this partner. And then at one point, they'll tell me, Sister Becky, I'm pregnant again. I said, okay, who is the lucky person? It says still another white man. So I said, wow. So it's like they after this kind of traumatic events that we went through, we fought back and forward. The teachers were complaining that the children they you were under heavy surveillance, and then you still falling in love with so it's like for them, some they still go back to this type of relationship, and more coming from East African women. When they contact us, they're coming from there.
So I was going to say, obviously, a lot of it's down to poverty in Africa.
Yeah.
Obviously, looking for a way out of the continent. But my question is, how do you appeal to people to see things differently? Because obviously, this is psychological, and also this is a kind of a trauma, because they go through trauma after a while.
Yeah.
How can they get out of this kind of mindset, that thinking that, you know, same in all over Africa, a white man is our solution, everything we do?
I have been appealing to NGOs in Africa to talk to women. Some journalists have written about it, but some journalists too have complained to me that lately their editors don't want to approve some of the articles I gave them. Some of them I even prepared some of the ladies who were willing to tell their stories to be interviewed, and it was really really pathetic. People were shocked when these journalists interviewed them and they told their stories. But it's like it's not sinking to the population down there, because I still get people coming to bash me on TikTok like, "What's your problem? Hey, this and that. We want the mixed children, or we want this, or that's not our every race. There's intimate partner violence anywhere. Like they don't really understand, because if it's if there's an intimate partner violence going on among the same race, like if there are two partners from Africa, the man will be afraid, because if your name go in as somebody that you raise your hand on women, it might go into your records. But this other white man can do you anything and destroy you, and nobody will hold him accountable. So that is where we are seeing that you are in a position where you don't have a choice, and you don't know how long you'll be in this position, because you might need to be there for 4 years or 3 years for you to get your permanent resident. How long do you want to put up with this kind of experiences that you're going through? Somebody bringing another third party that's not even a human being in your bed, some kind of fetish behavior going on, somebody taking you for an abortion and remove everything in your womb so you don't have to have any baby, and you just be there for him for what he wants. It leaves you with some trauma, but our girls are not willing to listen to that. So we just keep like NGOs, they should more awareness, because one of the things we should do is to let them know that this is what can happen. Don't just feel like, because we're coming with this white savior tendencies, like they are the Jesus, they are the it's a heaven, it's a paradise on earth. These people can do no harm. And so it hits them hard when they start experiencing these things.
Interesting. Undergoing. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So, what is the Black community in Sweden doing about this? Are you all coming together to address this racism
That
that the system has and the injustice upon our people?
that is even what we were just talking about before we started this meeting. We don't have a base. Like in the UK, they might have a black community, a base. In countries like Scandinavia, they even used to refuse like there was no racism. There's no community base. They like, I know families that their children have been removed, go through injustice, like my autistic son that is being locked up, Emmanuel, and no black, but very few handful want to come together and say, no, we need to do something. We are under attack. We have been invaded. For fear of them, I lost their job because the system to come after you with iron fist. Like somebody like me, I've been sentenced. This even as a social worker, you don't work equivalent to your qualification because they don't want you to see certain things. They don't want you to know certain things. So if you're coming on them too hard, they to fight back to keep this narrative under control. They know that they're not worried about the racism they're doing to us, but they're worried about the outside world knowing about it. So sometimes they come and ask me, why don't you speak in Swedish? Why don't you hold a private life? So they don't want this to be out there. It's not like there's any they remorse or they don't know about it, but it should not be obvious. That's the point.
So, how do you think we can bring the Swedish system to their knees so that they can do something about this? Because I don't believe personally in giving up that this is how it is, because our people are still living there and some of them are actually stuck there.
Yeah.
But the Swedish government clearly and the systems in Sweden need to be brought to their knees so that they can do something. So, what do you think? What actions should we take about this situation? Because now it's become our problem. Now that we know about it, it's all of our problem, not just you all in Sweden.
We have been trying to create awareness. A month ago, I was in Johannesburg. I was trying to see if we can organize some protests from Johannesburg to Pretoria in the Union House. I wanted to see if we can involve African mothers like Yvonne Shaka Shaka. I've also tried to contact other radio stations to talk about it. I always accept every interview that come across my way. I try to like make sure I create time for it because I know it's still a voice out there to
Mm.
save our people. So we still, but it's not really like gaining impact because we in 2023 I did a demonstration in front of the Swedish embassy in London, but it was just 4 hours and the group really helped us to like bring out all this unlawful removal of children and Emmanuel, my son, that is being locked up, our children being placed on psychiatric medication, being institutionalized. Just take a child claiming that the parents cannot take care of the child with just no unlawful removal. So it's really like tough, but I think that if we come together, especially with countries like Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, that is the hub of activism, I think we'll be able to break them. I was telling them in Johannesburg a month ago that if we take it 1 week straight in front of the Union House, they will be forced to do something. Because when we went to Geneva in 2022, they accused Sweden of systemic racism. The UN accused them of systemic racism. But the Magoro delegation has not bothered to come out and find if they have solved those issues because they complained that the difference is in the foster care statistics pose a problem. But yet they have not really tried to go down and say, okay, have they closed those institutions? Have they given them justice? So it was just all lip talking. So yeah, it's just lip talking. So how do we make them go on their knees? Like you said, it's one of my greatest like dream to see that come true because these victims need justice.
Okay. I have some ideas. We can talk about it when we get off the broadcast.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Goladele, you have yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say, can you talk about the unlawful removal of children? Because you were mentioning your sites. Yeah, let's give us that story, please. Let people know what's going on with that as well.
Yeah, that one is another big issue. It's just the new pandemic, removing of African children, constantly like claiming that they have a bad way of attaching with their children. A child with any developmental delay, like speech delay, or if the child even having a diagnosis, you blame it like it's bad parenting. Then it's not like you have the intention to help these children, but it's a multi-billion-dollar industry because they take these children and place them in white homes, they sentence them and place them in institution. And most of these children, when they turn 18, the ones without disability are sent back to the society and they're coming back as very weak adults. Adults who are emotionally very weak, who are maybe teen moms, addicts, and the rest engage in a gang-related crimes, and they're not doing anything to change the situation. We have thousands of African children in the foster care statistics, and these parents talking to them, there are people who are working and paying taxes. So you want to tell me that these parents cannot be taught how to take care of their children, or you're just taking their children, give to a couple so they can stay home, and the municipality is paying them that they're taking care of a white child, while the parents are working and paying taxes, and sometimes you even ask them to pay some kind of child support or some money for the placement. So it's kind of a modern day slavery. And that's something that is really, really a problem right now, because they keep sentencing African children, locking them up. These children, some of them are being abused, sodomized, and the social workers don't care, since they are not Swedish children.
So
No,
what about that? Sorry, what about your son? What happened to your son? Can you talk about your son?
my son Emmanuel was born on the autism spectrum. He was born when he was one. He was able to say "mama," yes, and then he stopped talking, and then he started talking again when he was 6. So when he was 17, I migrated with them to Sweden with all 3 of them. I have 3 children, and the diagnosis was re-established again as autism and intellectual disability. And we tried to get help. Help was not forthcoming. They said he should go to a special needs high school where he attended this anthroposophical line of education. Then they started medicating him. The medication, I know he had a problem with falling asleep and staying asleep. But then they moved from one medication to another. Some of this medication were making him very slow, cannot even lace his own shoe. He cannot even do a lot of things. So when I took it up with the psychiatrist, all hell break loose. Like, how dare you? And then most of the meetings we were having, if you try to bring up your own view as a primary caregiver, all hell break loose. So they took him and dumped him there at the police station. Then he was sentenced. He was sentenced that the curing his autism, and for the past 6 years, he has been moved from one prison to another in Sweden. I think, not up to a week ago, he was moved to another prison, the 4th place. And these places have written that my son is violent, easily gets angry, is very unhappy. Then they'll be medicating so he doesn't run away, and the municipality is paying them every day like 8,000 Swedish crowns, and they're destroying our children. So it got to a point where our children started dying because sometimes this medication, like Terraline, Abilify, injecting the way antipsychotic medication, they do pass out, and some of them were not able to resuscitate them again, and that's the end. And these people just make it look like it's not a big deal, like it's okay, like you just need to just accept that is. And then when they start like this, they give you a trustee that is their people. Like my son sentenced under this LPTA law. Every 6 months he has to go to court. He has been taken to court 13 good times, and on no one occasion have I been invited. And this is me, a social worker, somebody with a master's degree in social work, specialized in interventions in childhood in Sweden. I've worked in Swedish healthcare for 10 good years, worked with people who are even more violent than my son on the autism spectrum. And yet, look at the way they're treating my own child. Emmanuel will not make it. We've even asked, okay, deport him. They refuse. And this is what is happening to especially our children from East Africa on the spectrum. They're happening to parents with young children.
Wow.
And then what the behavior that I saw was, as soon as a social worker remove a child, the next thing they send is the child should go for child and adolescent psychiatrist for evaluation if the child has ADHD or autism or any neurodivergent condition. Not with even the intention that they want to have, but just the intention that they will medicate and keep them, because with the media age, this business is no longer lucrative. Some of these children might call their parents and they may be taken back to Africa. So with the psychiatrist giving a diagnosis, it will just numb the child. The child becomes like a light bulb, as the one woman said, just on and off, like a zombie. You put the child on and put the child off. The child can sit in a particular position for the next 5-6 hours because of so much medication in the child.
Wow.
Did they ask for your authorization? First of all, who's they, right? Who had your son before the prison? Who was that who had him? And did they ask you for authorization before medicating him?
No.
Is that
the doctor?
What is the law? What is the law in Sweden regarding that?
The law in Sweden regarding that, the primary caregiver, what they call anhöriga närstående, but when you're an African, you don't have any collaboration. So far, I've told even some of my professors that collaboration between African primary caregivers and Swedish professionals like educators, hospital counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, social worker is very poor. But the school too is kind of a Eurocentric educational system that they keep painting it like everybody gets what they want. We are a generous welfare country and everybody gets what they want. So they don't want to acknowledge that there's a particular group of people that are not getting anything.
So the school medicated him without your
So
authorization.
the psychiatrist, Maria Canwell, started increasing the medication, started injecting him that he has psychosis. But even if he has a psychosis, which he doesn't even have, why not take it up with me as a primary caregiver? They advised me to move the doctor's appointment office close to the school where he attended anthroposophical line of education. And then since the place was far from our home in Stockholm, he has to live in a residential home with other boys there, which he was being nice. And then we move him to another place. The parents, they say they don't want a black person on the autism spectrum among their white children, though the children to have special needs.
Wow.
Then we move it.
What do you think about putting together a global complaint against Sweden? We can figure out what venue to do it at.
That's another possibility. Maybe we call.
Do you have the appetite to handle what comes with that?
I am very much ready. I'm prepared to go back to Cameroon. I'm more than ready because I'm not happy again seeing what is happening to my people. I've even asked them to deport Emmanuel. I'm trying to pack, just leave because it's pain. You see pain on your people. You experience pain.
Yeah. So Oladele, I'm going to go off on a rant because we continue this conversation and I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I'm angry. And then I'm here thinking, Duko, what's the best question to ask to continue this conversation? And I'm at a loss for words, right? I'm very angry. And my thing as I sit here and continue to listen is I'm remembering all our brothers and sisters who are like, we need to forgive white men meaning white men and women, right? Why are you always on white people? It's not them, it's their ancestors. So you all tell me right now in Sweden, first of all, tell me that Sweden does not need to burn to the ground. Just tell me me saying that Sweden needs to burn to the ground is not something that you logically, all of you are thinking about. Like, someone tell me I'm crazy for saying that Sweden needs to burn to the ground. But also, I'll ask our audience, for productivity's sake, please put in the chat what you think we as a collective, because like I said, this is now our problem. This is not something we can turn a blind eye on, right? Unfortunately, some Black people in Sweden, and this is happening everywhere, are turning a blind eye on our dehumanization. Yeah. So that we can connect with more Black people who are not okay with turning a blind eye to our dehumanization, what should we do as a collective to bring Sweden to their knees? Because they need to be brought to their knees. So please put in the chat what you think. But going back to the previous conversation regarding the marriages, and for the sake of our people learning, do you believe interracial marriages with white partners strengthen or weaken African communal unity and liberation struggles? And just in general, African culture, teaching your child languages, the food you cook, all that. What impact does interracial marriages have on that? Carrying on our way of being.
It has a lot to destroy our culture, our way of thinking. And you see, children from this type of marriages, they end up with a lot of mental issue. That's what I've noticed. And they kind of not accepted in the white community. And we are the ones most often that accept them. I have friends who are married to them, or they had a relationship and had a child or children from this relationship. Those children are more close to us. But though they are close to us, they don't really act like us. They kind of suffer from identity crisis. Like we're in between. We are not either here, but we most often accept them.
They do.
They don't accept them either. They don't really close to the people. They are the white side of the family, but they're more close to us. But there are certain things they don't put up with us. They don't know even our language. They don't understand our food. They don't understand our culture that we share the little we have. They're coming again with this egoistic tendency of me, mine, my things, my things. So sometimes I need to tell them that in Africa, whatever you have belongs to everybody around you. You need to share. We are in a collective setting. It's not an individualistic setting. So it destroys a lot. It really destroys a lot in this, in the children that are product of this type of relationship, and they also go through a lot of racism because, yeah.
So, and I was struggling with whether I should bring this up um, when I learned about the conversation we were going to have. I was married to a white man. I left that marriage because I was not being treated well, and it became clear that the man was not committed to showing love through action, right?
Yeah.
But I agree with you. My children struggle with identity, and we don't talk about it. And again, like I said, I was came into this cautiously, telling myself, "Be careful what you share, because these are my children. I have to protect them."
Yeah.
But the goal is to help us as a collective, as a global community. And if I have a certain experience that can help our people, I need to share it. My advice right now to Wana Ubuntu, African people, do not marry white people. Do not marry outside your race. I'm going to be very clear right now. Do not marry outside of your race today. Because clearly we are seeing there's racism. And this is not me being racist, which is what a lot of people are going to say. This is me realizing and now learning what other people think of Black people, but they don't see our humanity.
Yeah, no. See, so we can continue this the recording to some other time. Or
Nope. It needs to be done. So our global community is under attack.
That's true.
And in order to preserve it, you're gonna have to bear with me, y'all. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's okay. It's all right. I understand.
Like, I come on here and people criticize me for the way I talk, but I talk the way I talk because I have experienced everything I criticize.
Yes.
I have experienced religion. I have worked for the federal government, the United States federal government. I have married a white man, and I have experienced whiteness up close. So when I tell you, as my people run away from whiteness, it's because I've seen it up close for what it is. So yeah,
That's true.
as an African person, do not marry white people, especially white people. I don't care how loving they are. Just right now, let's focus on marrying our own people.
They will never love us. They never were friends. That's the truth. It's all about
do not-
interest. Interest. What do I have to gain? And slavery never ended. They rebrand it. They gave it a new name, but the same thing is going on. It never ended.
Yeah.
It never ended.
I always say, when you know better, do better, right? So in my capacity working for the federal government and constantly hearing constantly hearing, I was working for a law enforcement federal government unit, constantly hearing. And the reason why I'm not mentioning who they are is because legally they will come after me if I say who they are. So I can't mention on TV, on broadcast and public space who they are, but you put two and two together. And going for meetings and hearing how they're talking about Africa, knowing they're in Africa and the plans that they have for Africa, I finally had to sit at my desk and also we were fighting racism within the organization itself, because it's founded on racism, the organization itself. And again, put two and two together. So as an African coming from Kenya, I didn't know all this history. And because I'm raised Catholic, and a few times when I walked away from Catholicism, it was born again. So the same poison, different dressing, different packaging. And because I went to the school system that is British system, I have been conditioned to see whiteness as good. And I came to America seeing whiteness as good. I had friends who worked for the United Nations. Their families were doing well, and all they said was good things about the positions they had at the United Nations. So when I first came here, it was, and back at home, people talk about, this is great, you're going to the United States. And I didn't even pursue it. I was busy working at home until my father sent me a message, show up at the embassy tomorrow. You have an interview. I'm like, what? Yeah, your uncle got you a school. And that was it. And I was here. But you're going along with what people say. This is great. I get to be here. Oh, I'm going to get a United States education. It is like people look up to that, you know. But then I came here in 2000 and I started working with the federal government. First of all, these things did not just show up at the federal government. I was working for Zurich, I was working for AIG. And in those spaces, I started seeing things. I started seeing the inconsistencies of how they treat us and how they treat white employees, right? People who are getting promotions. I'm looking at underwriters. Underwriters are the people who write policies in insurance companies. I'm looking at how our Black underwriters are, because you're judged based on your sales, right? How they're being professionally judged, and how the white people are. White people who are mediocre, lazy as fuck, being given credit and paid well, while our people who are hardworking getting no promotions, right? So that's where it started. But I was still going along, right? To get along. I was getting a check. I'm good. I'm able to send money home. We're doing good. Until I walked into the federal government. And this beast was of a different nature. This beast was too real to ignore. The things that were being said in the space of work, the microaggressions, when you bring it up, because we had a thing we were working about on DEI. I was one of the leaders for the Black committees. When we bring up the issues and we are told that the head of that organization, one of their main goals is DEI, right? So I'm working on logic. I've gone to British school where you work on logic. These are the facts. This is the path that should go, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be the best, not because I want to be the best, but I'm doing this thing. I have finally found a route to address the issues that Black people have in this organization. In the federal government, it is true that the federal government hires, until Trump started firing, the most Black people, but most of them do not go past GS11. GS is a grade scale for income. Most of them are GS9 and below. Most Black people. And if they really, really do well, it's GS11. I was one of the fortunate ones who got high. They're those one of the fortunate ones who get to 12. You have to fight for 13. White people slide into 13, right? White people make it all the way to 15 and beyond. Beyond meaning that they're so high, there's no GS level. That's where most white people in these federal entities are. So as a DEI rep, you have to mention this. So you bring it up to them when we have our meetings. Hey, why is there inconsistency with this? Why am I in the office in this city and the wall of executives who've led this office are all white when this city is predominantly Black, right? Those are the things I was bringing up and saying, you as a white man cannot talk to me like that. In these meetings, you as a white man cannot tell me what to feel about how you're treating me, right? But because I was speaking with strength, I was speaking with confidence, I finally knew who I was and was telling that man to his face, you as a white man cannot talk to me like that. They were so fragile, they ended up firing me. It started with 3 years of retaliation, because I knew in New Jersey, if I quit, I'm not getting unemployment. So I had to ride that wave. Horrible experiences. Had 2 surgeries in 2 years because of the stress level in that place. Finally, they fired me. And on that day, when my supervisor walked to my desk, I said, I knew the day was coming. I just knew that was the day. I was not surprised. And I gladly walked out. And you walk out with 2 armed law enforcement people behind you to walk you out to the exit. That's how I walked out. And thankfully, because of the relations I had built doing my DEI work, and because I say hi to our people and I respect them, I got 2 Black people to walk me out. And I said to them, because that day they were very upset, I said to them, stop being upset, y'all. I'm grateful it's the 2 of you and not some white racist who walked me out. So don't be upset. But that's what was happening there.
Yeah.
And In my marriage, and I was talking to Oladele before this, and we can get to questions once I share the story, right? In my marriage, I said to Oladele, I want to talk about this, but I don't want to make it seem like black men are not also not good to our women. And the sad thing is, black men are operating as white men. So this is the disease. It's not that it's black men, they're operating as white men because they've been cultured into Western culture, white culture. So yes, they are doing it, but because their mentality is a white man's mentality.
Yeah,
so they don't see value in the black woman. And they're treating us the way white men naturally treat us because they don't see value. So in my marriage, it was a constant, I made more money. And it was a constant not being appreciated, being called names, no matter how much. I was the one holding down the home, but I kept being called names out of my name constantly. And it was a constant, hey, you need to get better, right? Because I'm going to start hating you. That's what I said to this person. I'm going to start hating you. Because your sorry has lost meaning. Because every time you say sorry and you do the same thing, it has lost meaning. And I'm going to start hating you. And it got to the point where one day I just woke up. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. So I don't know if that has to do with whiteness. And I am actually looking forward to finishing Yurugu. Yurugu is a book that has been written by Mama Marimba Ani. Yurugu is Yurugu. And hopefully one day we're going to have her here, because I still am learning about whiteness and I need to understand whiteness. But I will say, I gave my backstory so that when I'm saying this to my people, you understand this is not just me talking rhetoric. This is me having experienced. And I've said the one thing I've never held back on is, do not get therapy from a white person if you're black. I don't care how good they are. Your therapist should never be a white person if you're black. Never, ever, 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 ever be.
100%,
Never.
100% I agree with that.
I don't care if they're related to John Adams and they were there, they survived it, and they had children, and all of them want to fight the black fight. I don't care. Do not, as a black person today, I am telling you from experience, and because there's reason behind it, logical reason, they innately hate us. They have been trained to hate us through generations. Therefore, when they sit with you and you're complaining about your struggles, they don't see your pain. They cannot relate. They're not able to help you. And even when you get a black person with a decolonized mind, because like I said, black people are operating with white mentality. So you have to be very careful. If you see a black person who's always criticizing blackness, don't have them as a therapist. Don't. Here I go. A black person who wears a weave, be cautious. I'm not saying don't, but be cautious. Study them first. But that wearing of a weave is self-hate. So I'm saying to you, when you go to look for a therapist who's Afrocentric. If you're a black person going through racism. And everything we as black people go through today is racism. Every single thing. Everything, from the moment you wake up in your home, whether you know it or not, to the moment you sleep. Everything. In the market, everywhere, everything is racism. Why am I saying that? In Africa, you might not see it up front, but those crops that you're buying, the food that you're buying is racism. It has been exported from the United States through forcing your government to export and not produce for itself. So it's racism. The high prices you're encountering in the grocery store is racism. The school that you're taking your children to that is not teaching them to be prideful of who they are is racism. So Africans, I'm sorry to let you know today, because you're busy celebrating Charlie Kirk, right? The church that you go to is racism. The mosque that you go to is racism. So I'm going to stop now, my sister, since I've given you my background and the tools to continue this conversation, and let you continue.
My sister, Amose, you've heard what my co-host Unduku said. So just give us your perspective. What do you think? That's deep. Can you hear me?
Yes, our sister has said it all. I think everywhere we go, we see it. Like she said, we don't need to have a white therapist, and we see it every day. We just need to take it one day at a time. I think that's we still need to have this conversation again and still talk about it deeply,
Yep.
how we can come together and help, because we are really under attack.
Yeah, thank you. Also, I'd like to ask you, in terms of just appeal, based on the two topics you talked about, interracial marriages. Okay, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Unduku's emphasized on that. Removing our kids from homes as a challenge. This is not just a Swedish thing; it's happening all over. Even in the UK, in the US, it's happening everywhere. There's a lot of Africans who are talking, who are listening, who have when I introduced the topic, we're talking about cognitive dissonance. People don't understand the reality of what we're going through. Can you speak to those people who think like, how do, because they need to change the way they think? That's one of the biggest challenges, because they don't see the evil in what we're talking about. They think we're just ranting on, but these are evidences that you're telling us, Unduku's telling us, and we're seeing it. How do we get to the thick skulls of Africans who don't see what we see? Can you hear me?
No, it's kind of
We can't hear you.
It's kind of breaking.
Okay. Yeah, it's breaking. I think you're not in a good spot.
Yeah, she just needs to stay still. That's it. Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, that's
No,
what she
not
came to,
really.
it's not.
Okay. Can you hear now? No. We're struggling. Okay. Nah. Yeah, we're struggling. Any luck? No. Okay. Okay, she'll come back. Guys, our sister Amose, she's actually Cameroonian. And like you heard our story, she basically moved to Sweden. She became a social worker. She has a master's degree. And she basically understands the system. But hello. Okay, she's coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot get you. Yeah. Like I said, that is a situation we just need to come together. I'm so pleased to meet our sister.
Yeah. So we lost you.
Yeah, try going off camera. Your audio will be better, and it's more important that people hear you. Just go off camera.
Is it better now?
No, not yet. No.
Turn off the camera and then say something. Yeah.
Okay, try now.
Really
We're getting a feedback now. Hello, Amose. Okay.
Are you getting me? Are you getting me?
That sounds
No,
better.
yeah, we
that
hear
sounds
you,
better.
but we don't see you, but it's okay. Like,
We can hear you.
it's better to hear you.
Are you getting me?
Okay. We can hear you.
I don't know.
Can you hear us? No. Okay, we're still going to get our sister back. But what we're talking about is basically the challenges that we Africans go through. Africa needs to work, and this is basically my bottom line. Africa needs to work, because if Africa works, none of us will be running around to these places that we call the haven. And sadly, when we come to these havens, they're not what we think they are. They're not. Unduku's given a story. I can say so much about this, but the West is not the place to be. The West is messed up, and their existence is based on what they instill from us as Africans. That is how they are surviving. Without the resources that is coming from Africa, the West would not be where it is today. The sad thing about all this is that we Africans are perpetuating the evil on ourselves just to back up the neocolonialism. we think it's good, we think it's a great thing when we're pushing capitalism. Capitalism is basically a butt of a joke against Africans, because for capitalism to survive, the joke is on us. So most of us are educated to come to these countries where they merely tolerate us. You can see Nduku's in the US. I'm in the UK. We understand exactly how subtle and how racist the system is, because we deal with it every single day. When we're talking, you think people will say, "Oh, you don't want us to come," blah 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 blah. It's not that, but we have our utopia in Africa. The only challenge we face as Africans is the fact that we are miseducated. As Europeans, we become Negropeans in our education, so we're not thinking as Africans anymore. So your solutions becomes European solutions, which is not working for Africa. You're corrupted in the mind that you come to the West, everything you do is trying to buttress the white supremacy. That's what we're doing. So we come to all these places, and then we have to subject ourselves to all these challenges that we're going through. Interracial marriages, it happens. We go through that. You heard what the sister said. You heard what Nduku said. We're talking about the jobs. It's a challenge. I've been through that. I see the subtle racism, being the only black person in a meeting. I've seen it happen. So the bottom line is, we Africans need to wake up and fix our continent. If a continent is working, none of us will be here. We have everything we need to survive on the continent, but we Africans don't see it. And I say this all the time. We don't want to take responsibility to fix our continent. We're always looking from people from the outside who are going to help us. The people that come in from outside are only there because of what they're going to benefit. They're not there to benefit you. Only you can benefit you. And those of us who want to benefit us, and all you're thinking about is your own pocket. And this is the thing, individualism, it's not African. It's something we've learnt. We are meant to be African in what we do. We're meant to, and we talk about Ubuntu all the time. If we become Ubuntu minded in everything we do, all the challenges that we're talking about today here, it will not happen. It will not happen to us. But most of us do not see these things. We just want to be part of all these things so badly. I call it a better past my neighbor. That you would do anything to basically subjugate your own human being. This is not us, intrinsically not us, but this is something, it's a borrowed behavior that's become us now. And look at Africa today. So much poverty, so much resources, so much poverty. Guys, we need to think, why is Africa the way it is today? Why are we at the bottom when we have everything the world needs? Yet we cannot use those resources to actually empower ourselves, not put it in the pocket of a few people, but using it to empower most of us. We're not doing that. All of you are trying so hard to be the best of this, best of that, based on a miseducated mindset. But what about the Ubuntu, the building community amongst ourselves that's going to build each other up? Otherwise, why would you subject ourselves to come to Europe and people have to go through what they're going through simply because we need to survive? And that's what we're doing. We're merely surviving. We're not thriving. Our Creator has given us everything that we need in this world to actually thrive, to live in nature abundantly. But sadly, we've commodified everything, and we, humanity, are suffering in the process. And this is what brings us to these places where they don't like us, they merely tolerate us. You see the Charlie Kirk thing. I didn't even know who he was until he died. I didn't have a clue. But you can see what's going on. So guys, what am I trying to say here? We are our own solutions, and we need to build self-love. This is something we lack. We become so individualistic, me, myself, and I. Your religion makes you individualistic because you and your God. It takes you away from a community. Your education, because you spend so much money in indoctrinating yourself, it takes you away from the community. You want to be, look at the education to start with. Education, it says you have to be first. First among who? Be the best among who? It turns you against your own fellow human beings. Trying to be the first in a classroom turns you against your own people. What about you learning together and all pull along together, learn together? Why not be able the best? What about the community in that? So this is what our channel is about. It's about decolonizing your mind and awakening your consciousness. We cannot continue to use the systems of our oppressors to develop ourselves. Sadly, our sister's, obviously because of connectivity, she's in space in Sweden. And I had to bring her on because I saw one of her videos that was going viral. She was talking about what she was talking about, how kids have been taken away from homes. And it's heartbreaking. It's emotional, as you can see in Nduku's reaction. So she had to tell her own story as well. This is what we're subjugating ourselves to. So guys, we need to build Africa. That's the only way. You can do whatever you want to do in the West. You can learn whatever you want to learn, but it's not the solution. The solution is back on the continent. That's where our melanin skin is meant to thrive, and we can never thrive on the capitalist system. It's not going to work. Because basically, all it does is concentrates the wealth in the hands of a few people, which is basically perpetuating the same problems that Africans are facing in the West. Kwame Nkrumah said, and somebody just put Kwame, oh, you put it there. Kwame Nkrumah said it. You don't look east, you don't look west. You have to look within yourself. Kwame Nkrumah said this. He knew exactly what was going on. He saw what other people didn't see. But look at us today. We're fighting each other just to be the best at what? Why are we not building communities? We're using this platform to appeal to people. Let's build community. This is basically what we're appealing for on this platform. Let's collaborate. And I'm talking about collaboration with decolonized minds, because not everybody is ready for this journey. If you're a capitalist and you're after yourself and putting so much money in pocket, you're not part of this. You're not ready yet. We need to build communities of like-minded people. People are willing to actually work together with your own people to build communities. Let's build together. Let's make Ubuntu manifest. I am because you are. You come together. I am. It doesn't mean you don't have to be the. You don't have to be the. You don't have to have the most. You know, when you pull together, you know how far we go when you pull together. If you're on your own, you go so far. But when you pull together, we could actually achieve a lot more than what we have today. And this is why we need a collective Africa, a Pan-African, Afrocentric Africa, devoid of the Muzungus. Because the Muzungus in Africa are not there for Africa, for the indigenous Africans. And I say that categorically. They're not here for us. They're not there for us. They're there to buttress and to carry on the neocolonialism in Africa. So guys, that's my rant for today. It's sad that we lost our guest, but yeah, it gave us the opportunity to say what we need to say. And Nduku, thank you for sharing your story with us. Basically, I could see it was emotional. You struggled, but it had to be told. So yeah.
I mean, the sister painted the picture clear.
Yeah,
like,
and I could see you. Yeah.
Like she painted and it's, these conversations are so angering. Like, if you're not getting angry, I honestly think you need to call a psychologist right now and make an appointment, because there's something wrong with you. As a Black person, when you hear us talk like this and you're not getting angry, there's something wrong with your brain, your mental state. There is absolutely. I'm not trained. I know I am not a psychologist, but through understanding logic, critical analysis, and how human beings should behave to survive for themselves, if you heard the story about Sweden and it doesn't anger you, something's wrong with your brain. And you do need to seriously sit with yourself and ask yourself, why does the pain of my people not anger me? Hearing about the pain of my people. But also, we need to do something about Sweden.
Yeah.
Because it's not like all those people are getting on a boat today and leaving, and we can say to hell with the white people there, may they burn to hell. No, because that is actually what should happen to them. May they burn to hell like yesterday. Right? If we could get our people, and today I can spiritually call upon the destruction of Sweden as an entity, I would do that. Why? Not because, oh, you're not human, oh, you're so hateful, Nduku, oh, you're such a racist. No, because they have dehumanized us. They are committing human crimes against us. That's why. And wherever they go, they will continue. So how do we stop them? How do we stop them? If wherever they go, they will continue the harm that they do, how do we stop them? I'm willing to receive alternatives that can help us get that are outside of what I'm suggesting, right? And my suggestion is, I'm speaking to the creator and the ancestors. Please do something about these. These hateful white people need to be removed from the planet Earth, because they're destroying planet Earth. Not just humanity, they're destroying nature as well, as we have seen evident. Right? So why should they be here one more day? If a human being, their commitment constantly, or whatever calls themselves a human being, their commitment is to constantly destroy, have wars, destroy crops, know that there's climate change happening, but still continue to put out bad air into the
I don't even believe in the climate. I don't believe in the climate
right?
change analogy anyway.
Right?
So because they created it.
They're giving you vaccinations. They know that they've put poisons in. Again, medical apartheid. Read that. As a Black person, you must read that. You must read that so that you understand what happens when you walk into a hospital. And this is happening even on the continent. This is not unique to the United States of America. This is just the evidence that has been presented from the United States of America, but it's happening even in the continent.
Yeah.
So why we must understand that marriage is not only about love between two people. That's a lie that whiteness has told us.
Yeah, that's
That is not
European. It's a European thing. Yeah.
It's not just about love between two people. It is great when we have love between two people, like strong, loving feeling and caring feeling. But marriage in African tradition, in African culture, is about family, community, survival of a people. And this is something we are learning ourselves and unlearning as we continue, right? So don't come at me asking for perfection. I did not ask for perfection from you. I asked you to start moving away from this destructive way of being. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking you to take the first step. Walk out of Christianity. That one was an easy one. I'm not going to church anymore. Full stop. Yeah. Let me go through whatever process of mental decolonization and the struggle of detaching that I'll go through, but I'm not going back to church anymore. I'm not using the Bible to judge how I move anymore. I'm not using the writings of the Bible or whatever other thing that has been used to destroy our people to guide me on how I move anymore. I am using my African wisdom, the evidence that has been left by other African people who had African wisdom, and my innate connection with African culture that never leaves you, because as Nkrumah said, Africa is within you, to start moving. And I'm judging how I move based on, am I causing pain and harm to others or not? And by the way, just in case you're confused, because this world today is very confused, your hard feelings is not me causing you pain and harm. You being offended by the fact that I said Christianity is harming us, that's not me causing harm. Let's be very clear what this harm is. Me saying to you as an African that the way you're moving is white and that you sound white when you get on a conference space and you're telling us, oh, I create value in people. I can create value in Africans. Which human being do you know doesn't have value from birth?
Imagine.
Even if all they know how to do is cook ugali, at least we know we're going to have the damn best ugali ever. That's their value.
And that's the Western miseducation, because it's actually, and me and my wife actually did a video about this, that, you know what, value is not your miseducation. It's what the Creator gave you to give to the world. So if you think your importance is based on your degrees and your paper or the things that you crammed in your head, then you basically lost the essence of living.
Some people's value, Oladele, is simply their presence, the energy they bring.
Yes.
The other day, we were walking at the Penn station the other day, and I'm thinking nothing of this. And we get up to the top of the flight of steps, and this sister, a sister, when I say a sister, is a Black person, just in case you all are confused. I don't call white people sisters or Asians or anyone outside of Blackness. I don't call them sister. And if I catch myself very quickly when it happens, because I'm a human, like we are innately, African people are humanly. So sometimes rewind. Yeah. Becky. Oh, sorry, I forgot. So I swear this life is hilarious. You can't make up this shit. So Oladele, in a nutshell, our people walk away from whiteness. It is destroying us. Walk away from whiteness in all its forms, in the form of Jesus. And I love Noira's idea. We are going to use Jesus AI to spread the word. I love it. If I do it myself, I am making a Jesus AI. So stay tuned for a Jesus AI telling you that whiteness is horrible, and they're going to be white. How about that? So I wanted to say, when we enter unions with those who historically enslaved, colonized, and exploited us, we cannot pretend that history didn't happen. We cannot pretend that they don't have epigenetics in them of their ancestors who this is how they moved.
Because, right? Look at them. Look at what they're doing. Look at, they're basically destroying everything.
The evidence. Everything.
The food we eat is being destroyed. It's being patented. Wars every time. Who creates wars? The food we eat.
Now for sale. Water that should be free coming from the mountains is for sale.
Yes, imagine our Creator gave us everything for free. He gave us everything in abundance for free, so we can live in abundance with everything. Now we commodified everything. Who did that? We Africans never did that. They created the economy of lack. Who did that? We didn't do that.
So, and I'm going to address the issue of those who've already entered into these marriages, right? Because that needs to be addressed too, because we have to take care of our people mentally. I don't want you to get suicidal, because it will take you there. Finding out that you've been aligned with a group of people who've been killing your people will take you there. It will take you to a state of depression before you wake up and realize you can mend your ways and do better. What you did in the past does not have to define who you are today. So when we marry into whiteness, we often enter into relationships where African culture is silenced. There are people who still, like, they'll teach their kids the languages, but you know you're not operating in your full African self. Our languages are not spoken, which was the case for me, because I was worried to make my partner feel left out. Where our traditions are not passed on to our children, right? Because you're trying to accommodate the other culture as well. So you're doing that whole thing, but it can't happen. You can't do them both, especially because that other partner does not want them done, both of them done, right? The result is children who grow up disconnected, confused about who they are, and vulnerable to systems that will gladly erase their Africanness. And when we move to the West, the danger multiplies. Because now you're, especially in Sweden, man, I can't even imagine. See, the good thing about the United States, listen to that. Nduku has something good to say about the United States, is there are Black people around you, a lot of Black people around you. That's the good thing about the United States. I can escape to Brooklyn and be around Blackness. I can go to Philly and be around Blackness. Like, I have Black people I can go to spaces where I'm just like, yo, I need this therapy for today. In Sweden, I don't think they have that. It is vanilla everywhere.
Yeah, sadly.
So I really, today I'm feeling the pain of our brothers and sisters in Sweden. And elsewhere where whiteness is dominant, right? So we place ourselves when we move to the West, because I'm also discouraging that. I told my brother, I am not helping you get here. My brother has held it against me. I've told him, don't come here. He's held it against me, and so be it. But he's not coming here through me. No, not knowing what I know now. No. So someone else can help him get here, not me. Right? We place ourselves in societies where racism is built into every institution. The schools, the court, child welfare system, everything. You heard what the sister said about Sweden. In Sweden, despite the fact that they have laws, as a Black person, when you take your case against a white person, it is, you're the one, first of all, who's criminalized, your children are taken, and the white person walks scot-free. So tell me why you, as a Kenyan, as an Ethiopian, as a Somali, hearing this now, will go to the embassy in your country and get a Swedish visa to go to Sweden. Why? Logically, why?
Yeah, but are we talking about the why? But the why is that we are not fixing our African continent to basically benefit ourselves.
Right. But thank you, because we're coming to that. Thank you. So now, for those of us who already entered into these marriages and we have children that we love very much, my children, come for them and I'm taking you down. If you ever have doubted whether the way Nduku talks is the way she'll act, dare, please dare, right? My children, I do not love them because of that history. I love them very much. And I am working every day to have them grounded in their African selves. And I'm explaining to them that just because you have that whiteness does not make you a bad human being, and your mom still loves you. And you as Black parents need to do that to those children. But you need to remove that dehumanizing cultural aspect of whiteness from their minds. That's what you need to help them work on. And whichever way you can figure out how to do that, please do. So my situation has been, I've been trying to get my kids to read the books that I read, and it's been hard. It's been a no, right? These are teenagers. And so I went to an event where Nuri Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, again, nothing is completely bad. There's goodness everywhere. Nuri Muhammad was giving a speech, and he said he was having the same challenges with his daughter. And he said one summer he decided, okay, my daughter, I'll pay you $100 for every book you read, right? But guess what? I have to question you about the book and figure out that you actually read it and understand it before you get that $100. So she had to actually read the books before she gets the $100. And she agreed with it. And by the end of the summer, she came back to her dad and said, I've read 13 books this summer. And the dad gave her, no, the dad owed her $1,300, sorry, my mistake, which is 13 books, right? That summer. And he said to her, okay, here's your check. She said, no, thank you, Dad. The knowledge I acquired from the reading is more valuable than the money, she said to her dad. Now, you tell me that child has not learned the lesson. So I said, you know what, Nuri Muhammad, thank you very much for that lesson. I'm about to go home and try it. And I get home to my kids. I don't have $100 right now to give my kids, but I was like, okay, $50. Let's work with $50. I said to my kids, December, during your school holidays, and in the summer, we're going to do this. I will pick the book. If you read it and I question you and I see that you read it, you will get $50 for each book. And both of them said, we're good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll do it. So my daughter's first book, which I told her is Medical Apartheid. My son's first book is going to be Andrew Kihinde's book on Malcolm X. I forget the title. And that's how we're going to move. We are at the point where bribing them to return to African culture is not something beyond me. I will bribe my children to come back to African culture. And I will give them $50 to read a book that will help them get closer to African culture. Because I understand that African culture is a human culture. African culture will save the rest of the world. You see, that's the thing. That's why we're not racist. African culture will save white people. All I'm saying is, while I'm returning to African culture and you're a white person, and I end up being equipped to do something about it, and you're harming my people, I will take you down without blinking. I will take you down because I have to remove you from a place of harming my people. So, Oladele, I'm so glad we had this conversation. I know
And when we sometimes we don't know where it's gonna go, we don't know how it's gonna happen, but it opened a lot of emotions, and we talked about it. And guys, this is how we heal. This is what we do.
You know what else, Oladele, I wanted to say? Thank you for saying that, because I wanted to say this, and I was talking to Nwari about this yesterday. For those of you who always tell me, Nduko, you give grace, and you think I'm always out here just telling you stuff without going through it myself, think about how hard today was for me. And I went through it because I know it's needed for the rest of you. Think about how hard it was for me to sit in the place of employment. I was making more than $100,000 a year. More than $100,000 a year. I was living well. To say no to that check and sit down on top of saying no to that check, because I now have to stand for my people. Sitting down and confronting myself and saying, am I ready to go to prison? Because knowing this organization's history, that's what happens to our people. They end up in prison just for standing for blackness. Not because they are criminals, but just for standing for their humanity. So am I ready for that? I had to do that. And the sad thing is, when someone like me, like us, does that, you're getting criticism from the white people and your own family because you're called selfish, right? You put your children at risk. I lost my home. I lost my job. I lost just about everything. I am currently surviving through the grace and the help of family and friends. So it's not an easy road, but we must take it. And I don't ask you to take it because it's been easy for me. It's been hard as hell. And I'm telling you, join me and together it's easier. So, Oladele, I'm starting to sound like a preacher. Let's go.
Yeah, so basically, guys, that's today's that's how the cookie crumbled today. This is what we came up with. It was basically Sweden. The sister came on and she basically talked about what's going on with interracial marriage and the dangers and the perception that we Africans think that you come into the West is all rosy. It's not.
Shit. Sorry, Oladele. We cannot let it go without talking about Assata Shakur. And honor.
Yeah.
But finish what you're saying, and then we'll have a moment quickly.
Yeah, and so the sister was talking about interracial marriages and the detrimental impact on our people. Who these white people come to Africa and they'll marry you, and they come to the West, and the consequence of what's happening. And she's talking about kids who are being taken away from their homes and put in foster care. I live in the UK. This happens in the UK. It happens in the States. It's basically a racist system that's been set up that way. And there's more or less, if you look at the proportion of people living in these countries, you probably have more black kids in homes than the white folks. There's a reason for that. So, guys, to wrap it up for me, Underco will come back to talk to Ashara Sokol, but to wrap it up for me, and I always say this whenever we are here, we Africans are our own solutions. We need to decolonize our minds completely. Using the Eurocentric solutions is not working for us, guys. You're trying to be African and being Negropean at the same time. It takes you away from you. What we need to get back to is our original indigenous knowledge system, our community, building together, not being individualistic. It's not about you. It's about collective consciousness working together. This is basically what built Africa to where it was before it was distorted. The pyramids that you see today was built through equilibrium, ma'at, balance between man and woman. The Zimbabwean walls that were built by true balance. We've achieved all these things before things changed. But guys, our ancestors are speaking to us now. We're in our awakening dispensation, and some of us have gone too far. Some of us are just waking up. You know, we can try to counteract the balance, but some of us get frustrated when some of you are so dragging us behind. I can understand that, but we are where we are. We just need to wake up, guys. All right, Unduku.
Oladele, what do you know about Asata? Let's start there. What do you know about Asata?
I've posted quite a few of her videos actually. She basically left the States to go live in Cuba, and yeah, obviously because she's a revolutionary lady, and she'd be. I actually saw a show with a white. Is it Donahue? Was it Donahue? It was Donahue.
Oh, Donahue.
Yeah. She was on a show, and that's the first video I saw about her talking. Yeah, so where she was basically defending, the Africans in America, and I think she was on a show with what's his name, Louis Farrakhan as well. Yeah, so obviously she's a firebrand, and I've basically posted about 2 or 3 of her videos on there. Basically, she's a revolutionary, and she had to forego the life in America to go live in Cuba. Yeah. So when you're revolutionary, when you see what other people don't see, unfortunately, the system doesn't work for you; it works against you. So, and it comes at a cost. It came at a cost for her, but she believed in what she was doing. She did what she stayed true to herself, and that's what I learned from the sister.
Funny story. Where I was working, the first day I went into that office, I saw her on the screen as American Most Wanted terrorist, and I was like, "Why is this black woman a terrorist? Who is she?" I kept asking myself, right? That was back when I was still like mentally colonized, but still it didn't feel, I was like, these are all men. This is a black woman. What did she do, right? I didn't know her. And so years fast forward, I read her autobiography. So she was a member of the Black Panther Party, the Black Panther Party, Black Americans defendant advocacy group, that Black Panther Party, not Wakanda Forever, right?
No.
And not any other thing that's Black Panther. That Black Panther Party, that identified with Mau Mau, the Kenya Land and Freedom Army. They were inspired by the Mau Mau. It is in their writings, they admit it. The Mau Mau, all the way in Kenya, inspired the Black Panther Party here in the United States. So that you see, when you talk of ADOS and FBA, that we are the same people, and stop being confused. So while in the Black Panther Party, their phones were tapped all the time. They were being spied on through the COINTELPRO program of the FBI. They were spied on constantly, like their phones were bagged all the time. So the FBI, the United States government, any faction, don't just think it's the FBI, by the way, they all work together. And they don't just work together within the United States, they work together outside as well. So everything they're collecting, they're sharing with other partner nations, right? Because if you end up traveling to the UK, they need to take you down. So they're building a case against you there as well. And of course, clearly in Sweden, they are. So she is being already spied on. They know things about her. She starts noticing things like weirdness. So she realizes that they are being tapped, right? But that's not the point of the story. At one point, there's an incident where they are arrested. And while in the back of a police car, she's shot, and I'm looking to bring someone who knows more and who's more intimate. So if you all can suggest a guest that we can have this coming Sunday to honor her and speak of her, because I want our brothers and sisters back at home to know. I'm working on getting one. Oladile, you're welcome to join us for that conversation on Sunday.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so please let me know.
So remember, it just wasn't inspired by the CIA, deal with the Mama.
Yeah. The CIA, the FBI, all those entities knew that the Black Panther was inspired by the Mau Mau. And J. Edgar Hoover's words were, we don't want a Mau Mau in the United States. Because if you all don't know what the Mau Mau did, the Mau Mau were business as far as handling the white person. And they were villainized for it. So white people would wake up to death upon the whole family, children to the father, because the Mau Mau understood after a while, yo, these people are killing us, and that child is growing up to be another killer. And they witnessed it. They saw these children grow up to be killers and oppressors. And so the Mau Mau was about eliminating the oppressor for real. There was no confusion about that with them. And there was an oath. And so imagine... Yeah, they inspired the Rasta movement, all that. That's why they wear locks, because the Mau Mau wore locks. So, and the Mau Mau wore locks, maybe spiritually, but also because they were in the woods, right? So the best way to manage their hair was to lock their hair because they were in the woods trying to survive. The last thing you want to think about when you're trying to survive and dodge bombs from UK planes is, my hair is not dead. No, you want it, I locked it, we're good, let's keep moving. The last thing I'm thinking about is my hair. So for the FBI and the United States government, yes, they're feeling terrorized by the fact that this movement of Black people is inspired by the Mau Mau who meant business. And if they get anywhere close to what the Mau Mau were, we white people here are done. So they had to stop them. So they're spying on them. Assata Shakur ends up in a police car. For whatever they had framed her for. I think it was in New York, they had framed her for breaking into a bank. If you all see the picture of the person they claimed to be her, it's not her. There's evidence that it's not her, and those cases in New York were dismissed. But they continued to pursue her as a criminal. And they finally shot her in the car and claimed, like, well, under that state, she took a gun and shot a police officer. So that's what she was framed for. She's taken to prison. Wait a minute. Is she taken to a women's prison because she's a woman? No. She's taken to a men's prison.
Wow.
And the story of how she was treated there, reading that book is hard. Is horrible. Again, we, myself, Oladile, speak to you about whiteness because we've encountered it firsthand. Because we have read about it. True stories, not just made up stories. We understand the beast. So eventually, because now she's never going to be let free, she gets pregnant while in prison because she had relations. Like, she tried to be a human being as much as she could while in there. She had relations, and I forget. He was also arrested with her. He was one of Black Panthers. Thankfully, our people back then were on the freedom time. They understood. So they organized and they broke her out of prison and they sent her to Cuba. That's how it happened. They broke her out of prison so that you understand that once upon a time we understood. Remember, they were inspired by the Mau Mau. They organized, they broke her out of a United States prison and they helped her get to Cuba, which means they also made negotiations with the Cuban government to have her find a safe space. And she found a safe space there. Unfortunately, she couldn't be with her daughter. She couldn't be with her family. Her partner, I believe, is still in prison. I believe so. I don't think he ever got out. Those of you who know, you'll tell us, because we're going to have this conversation for real. But I said to Noire yesterday, I was struggling with the posts on Thursdays when it happened, or at least when we all knew. Or was it on Friday? Fridays when we all knew.
I think it's Thursday or Friday. I saw it posted.
And because you all have become such trendy people on these social medias, I was like, I want to honor her, but I don't want to join you all in this trendiness. You all post about Palestine and all that. I'm exhausted and we're doing nothing. When I talk to you face to face, you're not really meaning what you do on social media. So I'm exhausted. So I was like, I'm not dirtying her in the relationship I have with her by posting a picture, just the picture, and saying rest in peace. So I didn't do it. And you can judge me for that, but that's the choice I made on Friday. I said, I need to figure out what to do because she does deserve honor. So we are honoring our sister, Asata Shakur, today. And we are thanking her for the sacrifices she made for the sake of our people. Because that's what she did. Remember, it was a Black Panther, a member of the Black Panther Party. What they were doing was fighting for freedom. They were doing children's breakfast. They were helping the community. They were standing with the community against police brutality. So like a case, police car would come in and the Black Panther show up.
They'll be on the lookout.
With their guns. What?
Yeah.
What are you doing in this? You know, like that's the stuff they did. So you can imagine how the white man is feeling about that. So we honor her.
Yeah.
We thank her. And we're going to do a better job at honoring her so that you all at home know who she is, because you need to know who she is, because she's one of us. And she is now an ancestor, and may she take place in my soul, please.
Ashe. I know.
Find your place in my spirit. And
inspire. Saying what you said there, actually, and you know, Asante Shakur basically stands for what we as Africans should be doing for ourselves, being a community. The Black Panther Party was a very, very good example of having each other's back, standing firm in this space, in the face of oppression. And this is what we Africans are not doing. This is what we're becoming so sensitized to, all the lies and the rubbish, that we just don't see these things.
She lost her job. She lost her family. She couldn't be with her daughter.
Yeah.
She lost her freedom. She couldn't move freely.
Yeah.
But guess what, Oladele? What happened this week?
Yeah.
She died before the white man, the oppressor, got her again.
Yeah.
She died a free African woman.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way you
and
said that.
Guess what? Guess what? They will never get her because she's in spirit form right now. Right now, she's
an ancestor. She's an ancestor now. She's gonna be guiding us.
That is something to celebrate and hold her up for.
Yes.
She did not die in the arms of the oppressor. You're a white man. I hope you do well this week with your fragility, because it's gonna be a rough ride. Because we are going to be celebrating her. Thank you, Oladile.
Thank you guys for being part of this series. I'm sorry that the sister dropped up, but she gave us enough nuggets and enough information to tell us what's going on in Sweden. Just share this. Kumbukeni, the emerging Alkebulan. We got a lot of stuff out there. We're putting all this stuff on there for you to be educated. We're not doing it for the sake of doing it. It's about education, understanding how we get here, and understanding how we need to get away from where we are to where we need to be. And the solution is building Ubuntu Africa, Afrocentrism, Pan-Africanism that works for all of us, guys. That's basically the aim. The white spaces are never gonna free us. They're gonna keep oppressing us. Anyway, guys, have a nice evening, and thanks, guys. And we'll see you. Yes, we'll see you next week, or in 2 weeks' time, or next week actually. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Okay, take care.